everybody, and welcome to another episode of Paul and All. As always, I'm your host, Paul Casey. Just doing a quick little intro for this episode. If you notice the time length on it, it's going to be a little bit longer because this week I'm a little behind. So I am putting the very first episode of the podcast, Just Trekking Along, that I did with my friend Dave, putting that as the episode of Paul and All this week. So hopefully you guys all enjoy that. The next few weeks are going to be a little different in terms of things regarding Paul and All because I'm going to be covering a few different topics that maybe I've touched on or whatever, but it's going to be there's going to be more of a I don't want to say a series, but there's definitely going to be some continuation in it. Hopefully you like what we're doing. Maybe you like this episode. I don't know. Definitely let me know by liking the videos or disliking the videos. I really hope you don't, but if you do, I understand. Maybe you could leave comments, things like that. I really would prefer comments over private messages from friends, things like that, because the comments show that other people can comment as well. You know, people won't be so hesitant. But overall, just wanted to let you know that the next few weeks are going to be a little different on Paul and All. There's going to be more focused conversations. But here is the very first episode of the podcast, Just Trekking Along, that I tried doing a few years ago with my friend Dave. Now, the interesting thing about this is that this particular episode, we discussed the original pilot, The Cage. But not only does Dave almost take center stage, which, I mean, if you've listened to anything that I do, that seems a little odd because I like to be the center of attention. But this was actually recorded before I ever went to Hawaii. So this was recorded before I ever met Jake or Megan or met anybody really in regards to close Lost friends, if you're a fan of the Lost with Friends podcast. So yeah, that's how long ago this was. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know. Give us that thumbs up, anything like that. Thanks for listening. And here is a Cagey start, the beginning of Just Trekking Along.
Welcome to Just Trekking Along. We are beginning our journey through the Trekverse, beginning with Season 1, Episode 00, The Cage, the unofficial beginning to Trek as we know it. I'm Dave.
I am Paul.
And we begin our journey on the USS Enterprise. Phase in from the dome to the bridge, where you see Captain Christopher Pike, the original captain. And you see your first officer over at the helm control. And here's Spock standing over the shoulder of Captain Christopher Pike. And then here's this annoying kid. He's like, Captain, 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 the entire goddamn time. Oh.
I was just having fun watching the animation and all of that. I mean,
okay.
Well, the first thing, because we just got done watching it. We have to let them know we just got done and
just watched it, and we might actually do most of our episodes like this, where we're just going to watch it and then film it, so it's all fresh in our heads.
Exactly. I actually was sitting there taking notes as we were watching it, so maybe I'll have to watch it twice. once to watch it and then once to take notes because my memory isn't so good. But no, as Dave said, this is the first episode proper of the series, and the first thing, of course, as someone who's not as familiar with Star Trek, that I knew, but it just it actually literally jumps out at you, is the fact that it's not starring William Shatner, which is pretty much his name is synonymous with Trek.
He doesn't matter at this point. Okay, we'll get to him
Shatner.
next time.
He always matters.
Okay, all right. Anyways,
I also want to note to everyone that we are particularly watching the remastered versions. So, whereas we saw the nice CGI 3D looking Enterprise.
It's beautiful, by the way. You
right.
guys should take a glance at it, YouTube it or something.
But we
it's
have to
beautiful.
make sure to note that, because we may at some point out something that other people may not see or notice, or it won't be exactly the same if they are not watching the remastered versions.
Oh, here's another point I make. There is actually one episode that they didn't remaster for whatever reason.
Okay.
So when we get there, you'll know right away, because there's actually in the remastered set, there's one episode they didn't even do. They're just like, yeah, why do it?
Yeah, it was what, like 56 episodes in the entirety of the original series.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden it's like, let's only do 55 remastered. Like, let's not go to that last episode and
budget
do it.
cuts.
Yeah. 55 episodes worth we can do, but that 56, no.
Who signed off on this? But anyways,
Go
gets the story. Basically, the cage. It fades in. They're on the bridge. Great. They're on their way to a colony to aid help to their own people when they come across a distress call from ancient times. Basically, NASA type communication stuff. And Pike's just like, not important. We got our people to worry about. This is from ages ago, so it doesn't take precedence. So we're moving on, and he's like, alright, you guys got your orders, and he disappears off the bridge. Goes into his room, and he decides to kick back and have a few beers with the old doc and talk about his life story.
Different doctor, have to point out. Because, like, that was another thing that I noticed that was... I mean, again, I knew it, but it was very odd, is the fact that only Spock... he's the only character who carries over from this original pilot to the main series proper.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of find that odd. I mean, Leonard Nimoy is a great actor, don't get me wrong. Like, he deserves it, but I thought, except for that annoying kid... Oh, I just wanted to punch him in the throat. He was just so annoying. The doctor wasn't bad.
Doctor was cool.
Roddenberry's wife wasn't bad.
She's pretty chill. Spock, too much emotion, by the way. Spock. I mean,
yeah. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but when he touches the flower things and the sound goes away and he gets that giant smile on his face.
Oh my god!
That was actually one of the notes that I made, was the fact that Spock smiled, and later on he just shows way too much emotion.
He's too happy and giddy in this episode.
Clearly they didn't. I don't think they knew that he was going to be like that emotionless, or attempt to be that emotionless character, because we know that he does show his human side every once in a while. Now, one thing I before we continue was that the ginger yeoman comes in, and he mentions that it's odd having a woman on the bridge. I wrote this down in my notes because it's several years before, as far as I know, this story is supposed to take place a few years before Kirk's, his 5-year mission, right? But it's still how many years in the future? Like, at least, 100, 200 years in the future from now?
I believe it's about 100 to 150 years in the future.
Right, so that would mean almost 200 years from when it originally aired. Because it was like 50... Well, not originally aired, when it was originally filmed.
Yeah.
Like 50 years. So that's 200 years in the future. And it's still odd that women are on the bridge. That seems odd to me. I understand it was the 60s, so commenting on current times, that seemed weird.
Here's the thing,
but 200 years in the future, it's still weird to have women on the bridge, except for Roddenberry's wife.
She's the first officer, so she has to be
there,
guys.
He made a comment. He said...
no offense. Other than you, it's okay that you're here, but it's still weird.
And he said, what did he say? He's like, you're different, or
you're
something
you're
like
different.
that. Like,
you're one of the guys.
Yeah, and she got all upset, rightfully so.
It's like, yo, man, I got boobs. I'm over here. I got the breast assist, the female anatomy. And he's like, you're different.
Yeah.
You wear your balls on your chest.
You're gonna say something though.
Oh, I was gonna bring up. Because they don't have any kitchens on the ship.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not.
Cruel humor
Not going on
is the
to
best
that.
humor.
There's no such thing
There's-
as an inappropriate joke. That's why it's a joke. But there are certain jokes that I'm not gonna touch on here.
This is
all dated.
you'll see as we go through the Star Trek verse. Basically, I forgot my train of thought.
Well, you were saying about inappropriate jokes as we go through the Trek verse.
If you take offense, sorry.
Perhaps if you
Not
take offense,
sorry.
honestly, perhaps this show isn't for you because they make a lot of
Offensive points in Star Trek.
And the fact
through
that
the whole
like
series.
we're fans and we're having a discussion and we make jokes. We're friends, we make jokes. That's just what happens. And realistically, the point of this is that like we're talking about it, but we're letting you people kind of in on our conversation. So this is how we would talk about it if we were actually talking about it anyway, making jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
We're just every once in a while going and catering it to the particular audience. So,
But
okay.
Progress-
See,
progress with the story.
further in my notes, it's back to, like, we're already ahead of where, because you're describing point by point the story.
Well, that's kind of the point, though, is to kind of break down the episode and.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because as we just watched it, I would assume, again, we know what happens when you assume, but I would assume that whoever is joining us has also just watched the episode.
Okay.
So, like, you could do it. That's your own thing. You're the host as well. But, it's like,
I figured why not? Because, I mean,
Hey.
we're trying to get people engaged, and if they kind of hear what the first episode's about, they might be like, oh, well, let's go watch it.
do it up, dude. Keep
So,
going. Because my next note doesn't come until, but I may go off of something you say, so
All right.
go for it.
Well, as we said, he was talking with the doctor, and then he gets a call from Spock. He's like, oh, we got another distress call.
Lots of drinking going on in that scene.
Yeah, by the way,
way.
oh, you can't have a martini without ice. So the doctor is his bartender, and he's like,
Which was an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
The fact that he said about how they both get the same type of people.
yeah,
You're
you're either living or you're dying, and
more people do find it easier to talk to their bartender than their doctor.
bartender don't care. He's like, buy a drink, I'll listen to you as long as you keep paying your tab.
Exactly.
The
Maybe leave a good tip.
Doctor, he doesn't care what you have to say. He just wants your insurance money. Just saying. But yeah, they're sitting there talking, and then another distress call comes in, and Spock's like, oh, it's saying that there are survivors and whatnot, and they need help. So they veer off of their original course to go help their people, to help these people who crash landed. I'm going to say about 20 to 30 years.
I think they said
before
18.
Was it 18?
I think they said 18.
So about 20 years
Because they
previous.
we know it's an illusion, but they say that girl was born
Yeah.
right before
And
the ship went down, and
she's-
she's only like early 20s,
Yeah,
if
so-
that. So I would say
About 20, 25 years
Yeah.
in that range. Doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt the story. But
no, David, we have to get the very particular year right.
anyway. All right. But they go decide, oh, we'll go help these people. They land. They see this colony. And oddly enough, there's like, I don't know, 10, 15 old dudes. And then there's this one hot chick in her 20s strolling on up with their shirt.
Really quickly, I'm sorry. I did have a note in the sense that the graphics, the special effects for when they're beaming down, I don't know if it's because it's remastered or not, but as someone who's like a very, like, I'm an audio visual type of guy, I tend to look at that stuff, and I thought they were very good for the time period. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that how they did it. They took a singular shot and then made them, because they stand perfectly still.
They look like toys at one point.
Exactly. But the blending, like the dissolving of the shot, It's actually done very well for the time period. I mean, I don't know how many people are really going to find that particular note interesting, but I did. I thought that was very good for the time period, because you don't see that often in like older shows where they get like the special effects.
Yeah.
You know, they're really well done.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So they roll up on this little village of people. This hot chick comes rolling along, and of course Pike's like, hot damn, like eyes to eyes.
And speaking of eyes, she has gorgeous eyes.
So, you guys, if you want to pause the video and go take a couple minutes to yourself, that's fine. Come back.
That's no.
Hey man, you said in the last video they're probably living in their mother's basement, just chilling.
That's for the Trekkies, and let's move on to the episode.
Okay.
All right, let's not talk about that.
Let's not talk about that. That is a very progressive point. But all right, so they're going along and blah blah blah. Next thing you know, this girl leads Pike up into this cavern, and then all of a sudden these buttheads come out. You know, they're aliens, and then they got these giant ass brains.
Did you notice that when they're, because we see them before the crew does. Remember, because they're watching him on that video screen, and like at that point we don't hear anything that they're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed the fact that, and I noticed it the very first time I ever watched this episode, part of the veins in their heads like pulsate.
They're always going.
Whenever,
they're always pulsating.
Yeah, whenever like they're thinking or whatever. And I thought that was a very interesting little touch to it, was the fact that they are, like, it's their way of,
communicating telepathically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like their early betazoids.
Yeah.
Without the betazoids aren't ugly. I mean, if you've seen Deanna Troy, you'll understand. Moving on, they come out.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I have to, because they do that. Like, she shows him something, and then they go back to the ship. They cut back to the ship at the one point, and then they go back, and because the guys, the older guys, talk about the fact that she is the only female. And we were talking about this while the episode was on, and you were like, why aren't there any older women? And I'm like, well, it turns out that it's all not the same, what it really seems.
You find out what the true motive is behind that.
But he makes a comment, and I had to write it down. He specifically says something about aging scientists. Now, we know women still aren't accepted, but I wonder, as scientists, in the concept of this illusion, do you think those old men, like, ever wanted to experiment with the younger woman?
Yeah, she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, because
let me teach you some stuff.
Yeah, the way they made it seem was that they raised her, which is kind of creepy in the fact that they raised her and then they would, like, experiment sexually on her.
They were an illusion. That never happened.
Right, but it just, that's what popped into my head, dude.
At that point, you don't know they're an illusion, so you're like, what's going on here? You don't find out they're an illusion until pretty much the buttheads come out, and they're just like...
Right, but guess what? No spoiler alerts, so that's why it doesn't matter that we're talking about it. Because, we obviously have to keep reminding people about that, because they're going to just keep going, oh, spoiler alert. No! Okay, so you were saying, so they
pretty much just poof. Next thing you know, Pike's knocked out, laying on this bed. He wakes up and he's in.
Well, that's because she takes him up to that. She takes him up on the rocks, and then they come out of the door.
Oh yeah, and he like.
Now here's the thing that I don't get. Like,
knocks him out.
It's like in a video game, and I've never understood it. Like that one particular set of rocks where like their little elevator thing was. It's different. It looks different. How does he not notice? Hey, that rock pattern looks different than every single other rock pattern around here.
Is that a rock? Nah, it can't be.
Like, what is that? I actually saw a picture online recently where it was like a wall, like in a park or something, and it had, like, they were all like stones.
Yeah.
It was like a stone wall, and then there was one small section, couldn't have been more than like a foot, and it was made out of like little pebbles or something. And somebody captioned it and they said, if this was a video game, there would be something behind that wall, because they're always different.
Yeah.
When there's like something there. Like, how did he not notice? How did he not notice that was an elevator?
Because he's a stupid human.
By the way, we apologize if you, in the background, hear David's dog.
Yeah, my dog's
moving
annoying.
around.
And he's back there. He's like shaking it.
Yeah, so
ignore that.
Just wanted to let you know what that sound was in case you heard it. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting with my notes because you're just breezing over all of these things.
Dude, I haven't even gotten that far into the story. We're still in like the first 15 minutes of the show.
I don't know, because like I'm... Alright.
Why don't you take notes like this in school?
Ouch. Ouch.
Burn. Oh, God.
Ouch. I think I need some water for that burn. Alright, keep going.
Alright, so Pike wakes up. He's on this fancy-ass bed, and he's inside this cage, and then he's looking around, and he notices that there are... Oh, by the way, hence the cage, because he's in kind of like a zoo. He's looking down the corridor.
Actually, that's a perfect way of describing it, is that he's in a zoo, because they don't say that at the one point, but they do comment on the fact that they want to preserve certain special human, or not human, special life forms from all the times.
They pretty much said they're looking for the perfect life form to teach and to pretty much grow like a garden.
Right.
And they felt humans are the most adaptable at that point from the contact they've had with them.
Right. Well, that's why they have like that ape
Gorilla
thing.
/ pig. He's
Yeah.
called Grape.
And they have
Gorilla ape.
we saw a shadow of like the bird thing.
Oh yeah, that Birdman in the background.
Yeah. So like it is like a zoo, really. But okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, well, you know what's going on, and then they show their face, and they're like, oh, and they're talking to each other, and he's like, oh, why can I hear your thoughts, but your lips aren't moving, and then he's like, oh, telepathic. Okay.
Interesting note. Something that I read right after we were done watching it, in the few minutes that it took us to set all this up, was the fact that the man who plays Talosian, that's how they kept pronouncing it, because it's Talos 4 is the planet, so it's, I think the
I
species
didn't pick up on that, so I wasn't
I think the species were the
fascinated at their
Talosians.
big ass heads.
Yeah, with that pulsate.
Yeah.
No, it's the Talosians. The guy who plays the main Talosian that he finally gets to later or whatever, he is not the same person who did the voice of the Talosians. They had a different person
The
come
one
in.
with the weird voice?
Yeah, they
Okay.
had a different person come in and do the voice instead of just having the guy who did it record the actual dialogue.
Your voice isn't good enough for TV, so
Well, that was
zip it.
That was actually a thing with a lot of silent movie actors. That's why a lot of back in the day when they moved from silent pictures to talkies, as they're called.
Walkie-talkie?
Why does everyone think that? That bugs me. I did my senior year of high school. I did a paper on the history of horror films, and it was from the silent era to talkies, and everyone was like, I don't know what a talkie is. Is that like a walkie-talkie? I'm like, no, learn some history.
Just learn
be
something.
sophisticated. Damn.
Drink your tea. Use your pinky.
And it has to be Earl Grey.
Earl Grey, hot. You'll get that later.
But no, so that was a thing when they moved to talkies, was the fact that a lot of them didn't have voices that translated well because they didn't matter, and people, not a great example because he's always been an actor, but if Bobcat Goldthwait was a silent movie actor. Yeah. If he was...
No.
I mean, I don't know about it. No, if he had moved into...
He wouldn't be talking.
Pretty much, they wouldn't have... Because then he would have... his career would have died. Because you know. But anyway, I'm sorry about my little stupid production note about the pulsating ass head guy
Yeah,
with a different voice.
this show's gonna be as long as the episode.
That's fine. That's
But,
all right.
Yeah, he's pretty much in the glass, and he's like pounding on the glass, trying to get out, thrown up against it, and the whole time he's doing all this, they're all talking to each other. He's like, "Oh yeah, now he's gonna do this, and he's gonna do this, and he's gonna do this," because I guess humans are so primitive and they're so predictable, and then they're just like,
Well, for the most part, we are.
yeah,
I mean,
creatures of habit.
Yeah.
And
Especially when we're faced with a new challenge, like as they said, like he's gonna brag about his personal strength and the strength of his ship and
his power.
yeah, and all that because he wants us to be afraid of him.
Which at one point they actually are. After they send illusions through his head and they have him doing these different things to kind of get him to adapt.
Okay, speaking of, because he goes and he fights that guy with the bad dental plan, as you as you put it.
You think they'd have a dental plan 200 years in the future?
Now when he kills that creature, the guy, right?
Yeah.
He stabs him with that thing. Is that, because I've only seen it briefly, is that the same weapon from the future episode Amok Time that Spock uses in the battle?
It's similar, but I don't think it's.
It
like
looked
the same
like
thing.
it, like it briefly, because
Yeah.
they didn't show it very much in the cage.
And it was just the head. It was just the blade part. There
Right.
really wasn't much to it.
Right. Okay. So that stuck out to me. I was like, wait a minute. Is that because it makes sense that they would use it later because the cage, except for the parts that are in the menagerie, and even that was an afterthought. The cage kind of wasn't intended to be seen after they decided to revamp the series.
We looked at it.
Well, yeah, we watched it. It was released home video 1986, televised 1988, long after the original series was finished airing.
Yeah.
But you wanted it to be the first episode that we watched because it's episode 00.
What, do you not know how to count?
I do know how to count.
00 comes before 01.
I do know how to count, except for the fact that it's so much out of the way from the beginning of the series that on the DVD set, as you know, it is a season 3 bonus feature. So
They made it first, and it takes place before Kirk was human twinkle in the mailman's eye.
yeah, it takes place first, but after they decided to revamp the series. See, this is an ongoing argument we keep having. Is the fact that I'm fine. Like we're doing it as the first episode, and that I'm fine was not like a, what do they call that? When you're just like
He's so fine.
no, not that. When you're just like, you know what? Fine, I'm over it. It's fine. I'm over it. Like
You
it
get
wasn't-
what you want again.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Like I really am fine with it, but it just it's not the first one, Dave.
Yeah, it is. The Enterprise wouldn't exist without Pike. And they even show that in the new Star Trek movie.
The new Star Trek movie doesn't really have anything to do with... Oh, wait, we can't talk about that.
2009 and 2014, there's 5 years. They could suck it.
Okay. Okay. But that's not the new Star Trek movie at this point. At this point that we're recording this, the new Star Trek movie is the one that just came out.
Into Darkness, if you haven't seen it, go see it. No spoiler alert because I'm not telling you about it.
Very good, though. It
Fair.
was. I saw it in the theater. I don't go to the theater to see movies that often. I just wait till they come out, like in the Red Box or something.
Khan!
And,
Which everybody knows Khan was in it.
but,
Because that was
spoiler
a big sell-
alert.
That was a big selling point, is that Khan was in it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Khan!
Um...
You killed my best friend.
But no, pretty much Star Trek, and if there are a few other like select films that I will go see. Like I said, most of them I just wait till they come out, like on DVD or in the Red Box or something like that. But I mean, just for some reason, Star Trek has always, even as someone who isn't a dedicated fan, I haven't, as I said in our teaser video, if you haven't seen it, I'm not even comfortable saying that I've seen more than 20% of the entire 50-year franchise.
You haven't lived.
But I'm invested in going and paying the money to see it opening weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I did too.
Well, yeah.
There was no waiting for me. I was going to see it opening weekend. I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, it was for this most recent one, it was a Friday after work, but I had to make sure that I switched with someone so I could get an earlier shift.
Turkey.
Because,
Nerd alert.
I was there. It was in my Starfleet uniform, and I had my phaser gun. No, I actually, out of the two of us, I am not the one who owns a Starfleet uniform.
I don't really own a uniform, but I do have 3 phasers.
The fact that he has, okay, there
and
you go,
and a couple tricorders and a few communicators.
The fact that he has to differentiate, I don't actually own a Starfleet uniform.
I have a couple Star Trek shirts.
Yeah, see, so who's really the Trekkie out of the two of us? No, don't look around. Okay, so where were we? See, I don't even know.
He was just beating and banging on the glass, and I was just gonna jump to. What was the one part?
She says, because he keeps asking her, "How real are you?" And she says, it was like very sexually. She just looks at him and just goes, "As real as you wish." And all I could think of is Kirk would have been on that.
Kirk, this would be a perfect episode for Kirk, and it might have actually ended the series before it began, because Kirk, let's see.
He would have banged her.
There's women on the bridge, which we all know. He loves women being on that bridge. He drops down into the village, and this hot
There's
girl
only
comes running
one
up.
girl.
Dibs.
Yeah.
Captain gets first pick.
Exactly.
Then-
The fact that she's there and she's like, "I'm as real as you want me to be."
He's
Like,
like-
it would have been over.
He wouldn't care if it was a dream or not. He's there.
He's there.
And
And
then,
we mean there.
And this is jumping ahead, but then he's stuck in that cage with 3 women picking the litter.
Exactly.
I think he would have tasted the wine. Got back for seconds.
I've never heard it said that way. Tasted the wine.
He's smoking the weed. Yeah.
Not the same thing, but I've never heard it said that way. Tell you, you're like, and you just said it like so nonchalantly. You're like,
I had
he
an old- I had an old
tasted the
teacher.
wine.
I had an old teacher when he was talking about marijuana. He's like, they were smoking the weed, and every time he didn't say marijuana, he didn't say cannabis, he didn't say nothing. It was always the weed.
Not weed, but the weed.
The weed. There's only one. The one and only. The weed.
But yeah, like as real as you, Kirk would have been like, "All right," and he just would have been. Oh,
especially with that green lady later on.
well, that's her, right?
It's the same girl in a different look because
Yeah, because she has a wig.
and she's
And
green.
Yeah.
But the whole time they're trying.
Well, yeah, because she's green. That's his thing, right?
He
Like,
loves green women.
Yeah, even in the '09 movie, Chris Pine hooks up with 2 of them, doesn't he?
Doing that green chick.
Yeah.
I think it's the same one, to be honest.
What do you mean the same one?
The same green chick that he hooks up with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he just does her twice.
Oh. No, I thought he had 2 of them at the same time. I thought he was in an alien threesome.
Right on.
But no, he does. I mean, Kirk would have been there. He would have been like, "Thank you for the option. I will take it." Like,
Let's get it on.
that was very good.
Thank you.
That was a very good.
Yeah, the whole time these aliens are popping images into his head. This girl's real, by the way. We find out that she is actually real, and she's probably the only thing that isn't a figment of his imagination. But
Yeah, but she's not as real as he would like. Contrary to
real.
what she said.
For real. But the whole time she's trying to appeal to his sexuality to get him attracted to her, to kind of coerce him to stay with her.
Well, yeah, even in to the marriage
Yeah,
scene when
marriage, the very end of the episode, she's still like, I'm not that pretty, but you should still stay here anyways.
I'm not that pretty, but you'll get some.
Find out
Pretty much.
She looks like Quasimodo and Leatherface combined. It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
But
She still had those eyes.
Those eyes were constant. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could look past the hump,
No pun intended.
yeah, she had like 3 breasts.
Well, she even said, she's like, they found me a pile of human flesh,
Yeah.
and they didn't know how to put me back together.
They're
Which
just like-
you brought up a very interesting point.
They look like humans. They're shaped like humans aside from their big ass heads.
They're humanoid.
Why didn't they just do her in their own image, with the exception of the butt head? Because nobody finds that attractive. I mean,
Then again, they
Unless
were
you're an ass man.
They damn right. They did appear to be all men,
yeah.
and so perhaps they just didn't know what to do with breasts.
I don't know. They gave her pretty nice ones in those images.
Yeah, that's because actually, especially because they had past images. If I heard it correctly, they had past images of humans before they ever interacted with her as well.
Yeah,
that's how
just
they were
not
able to.
much.
Right, but they still did. So like they should have known.
They're super intelligent, but they don't know what a woman looks like.
Yeah, exactly. That's, there's that little stuff bugs me.
Yeah.
And that little stuff is definitely the stuff that I can't wait to talk about on this show. Like, that is
The little
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
Oh.
The little things that we notice that we make mountains out of molehills.
It is a big issue. Like, you're in the future, you got these superhuman beings that could pretty much kill you at a whim, and they don't even know what a woman looks like.
Yeah, like, what is that?
How'd you get here? Did you not see your mom when you came out or something? Like, for real.
But is that how they came there? Is that how they came
don't
to
know.
be? I don't know, because...
They said that there was a war thousands of years ago, and that's why they live underground.
Right.
Pretty much, they said they pretty much live, like, not forever, but
Speaking
just about.
of, they're aliens and how do they not know? Here's one, how do they know? How is it that just about every alien species that any Star Trekians, whatever you call them, Starfleet people, interact with, know how to speak English?
They actually bring that up in a few episodes. I guess everybody was implanted with a universal translator.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it's supposed to be. And I brought up the question. I'm like, all right, then how?
What if it's a new language?
But here's the thing. Okay, they have universal translators. No big deal. Everybody knows how to speak English. Great. Now.
Wait.
But
wait, who was it? The Starfleet was implanted, or the alien races were?
Everybody. Supposedly.
But they find how many new worlds all the time?
I know, that's one of the big things. Is like everybody was supposedly implanted with this, but how do you already know the language of somebody you haven't met yet? But here's the biggest thing that blows my mind. When we get to the Klingons, you'll see. But when the Klingons speak Klingon to other Klingons, it's Klingon to the Klingon. But shouldn't it be translated to the humans?
Yeah, it should be.
Shouldn't they already know what they're saying? It's
right.
Like,
It shouldn't be like if you and someone else are talking and I'm just standing there like, what?
Yeah,
What are they saying?
that's what it's like. But it shouldn't be like that because they have their translators.
Right. That's why I thought when you said they were implanted with translators, I thought you meant Starfleet people were, because that would make sense. Because it's like in that one episode of Futurama where I don't know if you watch Futurama, but if any of you don't, you definitely should. It's a very good series. But Bender, the robot, is floating through space at one point, and he finds pretty much that show's version of the, I don't know what you call it, the God particle or whatever they say. Do you know the scene that I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it that much.
Well, there's one, and he says, like, he sees these things, and it appears to be flashing to him in binary, because as a robot, he can, understand that. And he looks at it, and he's just like, do you, he goes, I think that thing is trying to communicate with me. And he yells, like, do you speak English? And all of a sudden, this ominous voice just goes, I do now. Like, the way that they make it seem is that you only need just a few things.
Just to grab the context.
Right, like water. Like, I would assume on any foreign now I don't just mean like Earth languages. I mean like if there are aliens, like you would need like water, food, and maybe one other thing, and then pretty much anything. Like if you could translate those things, anything else should be extremely easy, because that's water, food, and maybe air. Probably just the elements, really. I might as well just say earth, wind, and fire.
If you work for NASA and you're looking for life forms, that's the only way you'll find it.
Right. So, like, that would be the things that, like...
Not everything is carbon-based, by the way. NASA. Look for other things other than what's based off of our life here on Earth. Not every planet has the same life that we have here on Earth. Alright? Pull your head out of your ass. Look for something different. Just saying.
Well, if it's human-like life, that's why they always look for nitrous, or what is it, nitrous oxide? Nitrogen oxide.
Oxygen.
Yeah, they look for those types of planets because, any species, any known species needs that to survive, because the only known species are ones here on Earth. The only other thing that the only three things really that we've ever discovered in space for whatever would be like rocks, water, metals. Okay, so maybe it's more than four, because stardust we've seen, and like the gas planets like Jupiter. Is Jupiter not Jupiter?
Jupiter's a giant gas.
Is it? Okay. You're a giant gas. No,
well, compliments to the chef.
But no, like, you know what I mean? So, like, but those things, they're not living. Even water isn't a living species. Any living species
as you know,
it
moves. It duplicates.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, getting back to actual topics.
Actual science. Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so when the crew of the Enterprise goes down finally, and they're trying to shoot into the thing, again, the graphics, special effects, whatever you want to call it, when they had that rocket thing, and they were shooting into the doors, the elevator rock doors, the rainbow colors were awesome. It was very trippy, I thought, but they were awesome special effects for that time. I thought they were very good. So, has my seal of approval.
Thank you, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Back to the story, since that's why we're here. But
I thought they were here. We were all here just to discuss Star Trek, not to recap.
You're talking about Futurama.
Not to recap the episode that we just watched.
We are recapping so they can understand what's going on. Some people are watching this episode like, well, why are they doing this? What's going on here? I don't get it.
Who would be watching this or listening to this and didn't see the episode?
My sister asks me questions all the time when I'm watching Star Trek, and she's like, well, what's going on? I'm like, you'll find out later. Then later it rolls around, and you find out, and she's like, well, I still don't get it, and I have to explain it to her. So it's kind of like, if those kind of people are watching,
it's the first episode, though. There's not going to be any... If they don't understand it, then they understand it later. And if not, then they ask us on one of our many forms of social media, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll give out all the information on those later. But they could get in touch with us anyway to question something.
Yeah, ask us, and if we get filled with a bunch of questions, we will release another video that kind of answers those questions, and I'm assuming a similar format to our teaser video.
We could do that.
We broke it down.
We could do that. We could do, like, the end of an episode, like after we talk about, like, say, The Cage or Where No Man Has Gone Before or whatever episode. At the end of it, after we're done and, the credits roll, we could be like, okay, since our last episode, we got some questions and we'll answer them now. I mean, either way really works. We'll kind of have to figure that out as
decide.
We go along. But, yeah, so we're at the point, obviously, because I already brought it up, where the Enterprise crew is down on the planet shooting the cool rainbow rock things.
Laser.
Oh, that was it. Because pretty much the very next scene is where he is talking, where Pike is talking to her, to the beautiful-eyed chick, and he mentions, and I made sure to make a point of it to you. It was the only thing out of the notes that I took that I said to you while we were watching the episode, and I said about the fact that he uses the words menagerie and cage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I almost jumped out of my seat. I'm like, oh, look, he said it. What's that thing like on Family Guy? When he's like, when they say the title of a movie in the movie. Remember that? When Peter's just like freaking out and he says something about like, they cut it and he's like, this is going to be, I don't even remember what the example was, but it was just going to be like, this is going to be Men in Black 2. And he's just like, oh, they said it. Like... It was just that was my thought was he said menagerie and cage. You just see her face right now. Wow, he says. He said it. That's the name. Anywho, I'm sorry that I interrupted your recap with some actual discussion.
I wasn't going to completely recap this part, but when he gets like really pissed off and he goes jumping at the glass, and then all of a sudden the guy's like, "Oh shit!" and he jumps back, even though he knows the wall's there.
That was very interesting.
And
this is a very good twist.
And he's like, "Oh, you can't read me when I'm really pissed off or whatever." And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, "Well, you're really pissed off in the beginning when you found out you were a caged animal, and they were reading your thoughts."
Well, he said it, cage.
Yeah. You did it.
He did it.
But they're giving him a play-by-play on what he's gonna do, even though he's in this intense state of anger. They're still reading his thoughts and knowing exactly what's going on.
I don't know, because was he? I mean, he was angry, no doubt about it. But I would think he would be more confused and scared at that point. How are they reading his thoughts? What is going on? How is he going to get out?
According to him, it's like if he has an intense emotion, any which way it spins. A super intense emotion.
No, but he said primitive emotions. Anger is like one of the most primitive emotions.
Well, if you're primitive, wouldn't you be confused? If you know what being confused is, if you're primitive.
Maybe, but scared and confused and angry all at the same time.
I think being scared. I'd consider that primitive, because if you're scared, that means you don't understand something.
All right, I'll give you that.
I mean,
so if that's the case,
if fear is irrational, that means that you don't understand why you're afraid of something. Think about it that way.
Well, no, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, because like I could be afraid of spiders, and it's not that I don't understand spiders.
But do you understand why you're afraid of spiders?
It's just that's not what you said, though, is it?
In a sense. I mean, obviously if you understand, like, I understand bears are big ass and scary. I mean, they got razor sharp claws about that long. I mean, you don't want to get hit by that. But
right.
I understand that's why I'm afraid.
Right, but like I'm afraid of heights, and it's an irrational fear. I know I have absolutely no reason to be afraid.
Oh, then you could fall and die.
See, I'm actually not afraid of dying. But that's a different topic for a different time. I'm more afraid of.
We can talk about that in a mock time.
I'm more afraid of falling and getting injured and living, because I don't want to deal with that.
I don't want to deal with that. At least when I die, it's over. I'm
exactly.
Done.
That's exactly my.
You guys can deal with the pain. I'm done.
Yeah, that's exactly my reasoning. Is I don't want to deal with that much pain.
Pain. Ooh.
So, all right. So, we don't have much time.
Yeah, what do you got over there, man? You don't even tell me nothing.
Okay, so Spock reacts too much. Was again going back to the fact that like he smiled and whatever,
too much emotion.
Yeah, too much. I mean,
I understand they don't know where they're going with it.
Yeah, they didn't know because they did retool the entire series.
Yeah, if you go to the Kirk pilot. He is pretty much...
Yeah, he is like the Spock that everyone knows.
He's just... Bleh. He's like...
Okay, here's one of the things that we were talking about the fact that like they moved beyond speech. They're so intelligent, yet they can't make a woman. They're so intelligent, yet they can't understand primitive emotion. And they're so intelligent and all this crap, why did they not... They figured out a way to telepathically communicate. Why do they still have the need to walk?
For real. Why don't they just
Right? Like, shouldn't they be able to, like float around?
or
Or
bounce
just,
on your big brain?
or just, like, not even snap their fingers, just literally think and be somewhere else.
Come on, be like a cube. Be like, psh, pew, there. Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
But
And of course people are going, what are you talking about, a cube? But guess what? No spoilers!
we'll talk. We'll talk to you in 30 years. But
one of the things that I, of course, was thinking was when I said about how, you know, it's not Shatner, it's Jeffrey Hunter's name that comes up. Whatever happened to him? Because he's not even the same. He doesn't even play the part in the menagerie. Like at the very end, because they show the old footage, but he's not even the wheelchair bound version. Like whatever happened to that guy?
I think well, when they did the cage, you know, like it's like an hour and like 10 minutes long, and they obviously had to cut it down. But I think like I think I read somewhere it wasn't quite working.
Yeah, NBC said that it was too cerebral. That was part of the whole retooling aspect of it.
Yeah, I heard they were, as they were trying to cut it down, and they're like, oh well, you know, you gotta reshoot it. You know, this isn't working. What the hell's his name? Hunter.
Jeffrey Hunter.
Jeff Hunter. He's just like, yeah, I don't want to do this. He's just kind of
yeah, but like, I mean, I don't know if he's still alive, but I wonder if he just sits there. Even the fact that like Shatner still focuses on Trek, he does a lot of like documentaries and stuff now. Like he's actually just airing one.
He's in a bunch of other shows too. Like he's trying to get away from that Trek image.
Right,
know?
except for the fact, like I was actually just reading this article the other day about how he has another documentary coming out, but this time it's about kind of the filming and a lot of the backstage tension in the early seasons of Next Generation. And somebody was commenting how even though he was or is trying to get away from being like the Star Trek guy, there seems to be a certain part of him that's like embracing it, and where he's becoming like the godfather and the kind of the gatekeeper of all of the knowledge of everything Star Trek, which I think is good, like for him, because not that he can't do other things, but it still keeps him out there. It shows that he does appreciate where he came from. I mean, he did a lot of other stuff
Not only
before
that, it's kind of like, you know, we haven't forgotten about you, Shatner. Like,
right.
Like, we know you're there, Kirk.
But it's like, I wonder if he's alive, if Jeffrey Hunter kind of looks, and not even just him, but just looks at the fact that 50 years later, people still care. Even people who weren't even alive, like us, like younger generations, still care about Star Trek. And he's just like, damn, like, I missed out.
Well, a lot of people even talk about him as Pike, like those who have seen the episode or even heard of it, like, what? Kirk was the captain all the time?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, who is this guy? And then they go back and they look. So it's kind of like, even though he only did one actual episode, he's still... Like,
I mean, he did cement his place in the history.
Yeah, he's still like an icon as the first captain of the Enterprise, if you don't include the other series that go before. And,
right, but I mean, like I said, I wonder, like, Shatner has done other things. Patrick Stewart has done other... They've all gone on. Even Jonathan Frakes, who doesn't really act much anymore, he's a fantastic director.
He's a bunch of, like, Twilight Zone type shows. Like, he's the host of these weird... Like, Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah.
He was the host of that for a couple of years. And it's kind of like shows like that he'd be the host of.
But I know he directs, like, a lot of, like, episodic TV as well. Yeah. Like there was an episode of Castle where they went to a sci-fi comic convention type thing, and he played like a nerdy fanboy, and he like not only played that, like he was only in it for like a brief thing, but he also directed the episode as well. So like I see things all the time, and it's not just sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy shows. Like it's just regular, maybe not like a Law and Order type of show,
Yeah.
but just like any regular show. Like I'm a huge into like behind the scenes, so I look at all the credits of stuff, and I'll be like, oh, that person, and in my mind, of course, I put the connection. Like, oh, that person wrote for this show, and they were friends with this person, whatever. Because I read all that stuff,
Yeah.
but I'll see and I'll be like, oh, that's Jonathan Frakes. That's
He got hardcore into directing. Like he directed, I don't know, I think like 8 or 10 episodes of Next Generation.
He did one of the movies too, didn't he?
He actually did 2 of them. He did First Contact, and then he did Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay.
I think Nemesis was like a joint thing between him and Brent Spiner. Because I know Brent Spiner actually wrote that.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And I know Jonathan Frakes directed that. Directed First Contact. He directed a couple.
Well, he wasn't the first one to direct.
No. He wasn't.
What's his name? Didn't Nimoy direct the first?
Nimoy directed, I think, 3 of the original series movies, actually.
Well, I know he did Search for Spock, because I remember reading this thing. I only saw it one place, so I don't know if it was just anything in particular. Like if it was just something from this article that somebody made up or whatever. But it was because they kill off his character in 2, and they figured that the third one was going to be... It was The Search for Spock.
Yeah.
And they said that he wasn't going to be in it, but they wanted him to direct it. And I read that he said something along the lines of, what do you think, I'm not a good enough actor to actually be in the film?
And he shows up at the end.
And they were like, no, like we want you to mold the other actors, like, because that's what a good director does. I mean, in a franchise like Star Trek, you kind of have a lot of stuff is cut and dry, and that's how it is a lot of the time with TV. It's the writers and the producers and the actors are there every week, and they know the characters, and you get a director who doesn't regularly work on the series, and they come in and they want to do like all sorts of stuff, and it's like, listen, like that's not how we do stuff around
It's
here.
not how I roll.
And so, like, they're like, oh, well, like a director might be like, well, why don't you say this like this? And it's like you have someone, not even like Shatner or Nimoy or whoever, it's just anybody really, and it's just like, well, I'll use Castle as an example. Like Nathan Fillion might be like, well, I wouldn't, that's not how it is. And it's like, well, why not? And it's like, well, why don't you try it? And it's like, I know Castle. It's like I've lived with this character for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But Hunter, see, Pike. Hunter never got the chance to live with that character, so I kind of wonder if he regrets it. And I wonder, like I said, I don't know what he does if he's still alive. I never heard of him, and before or after. That's not saying he wasn't a big actor, because I didn't know.
I know he was big with like Western type films. Like that was his main thing.
Oh, was it?
And
you could kind of tell that he looks like a Western.
And I think that's why they felt he didn't quite fit into Star Trek, because it's kind of like he was a space cowboy. But
yeah.
But I don't think they felt he fit in that role.
Yeah.
Because they were so used to him being in Westerns. And
it was very kind of dark episode.
The whole thing had like a dark overtone. Like even the music. Like, granted, there's going to be like some points it's like dun 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 type moments.
Right.
But like that whole episode was kind of like a dark overcast. Like kind of like they were trying to kill him the whole time, even though they really weren't. They're just trying to mold him into a mate for their female that they had there. But it was kind of like, oh, we're gonna kill you because you're an asshole. You're not working with us. We're just gonna kill you. And
yeah, like that's. But now, see, I think, and that was kind of the way television was back then. Was like not everything was in order.
Yeah.
That's like the episode where No Man Has Gone Before was the 3rd episode aired, but the first produced after The Cage. It was the second pilot, which was also a very unusual thing back in those times. If you,
Yeah.
you shot something and it didn't work, that was it. You were done. But they wanted it, and it was NBC, and it was Desilu, which was Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball's production company. They wanted this show, so they gave it a second shot. And I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, this is going to be a regular occurrence.
Yeah, losing her place.
Unfortunately, that tends to happen.
Well,
to
we
me
were,
a lot.
we were talking about how Hunter wasn't really fit for the part, and he kind of just disappeared.
Oh, that's okay. That's where I was going
Star
with it.
Trek
Was the
almost
fact that
disappeared.
I think had they shown that episode, like had they done more, and maybe if that episode was like somewhere in the middle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that it maybe that would have been better, because as a first episode to draw in all of your viewers,
Well,
that doesn't.
I mean, they could have pulled a Full House where they taped the first episode and like, nah, they retaped the entire first episode with a different actor.
Yeah.
But I mean, 20 years.
Well, I mean, they
before-
kind of did that with the Menagerie. They took different.
Yeah,
They took
I mean-
aspects of it, and it's not Hunter as the messed up faced wheelchair bound guy.
Yeah.
He is there at the end when they reuse the clips. But
Yeah, throughout the whole episode, they're using these clips from the cage
Yeah.
to kind of put him on trial,
Right.
which.
But it's not him there. But I don't know. Overall, see, it's difficult for me to judge this episode because it is so different from the rest of them, and it's almost. I mean, it doesn't really count. It's like it doesn't count
Yeah,
because anything that you need to know or that you should know from that, you find out later in the Menagerie, and they do change a few small details to fit in more with the
The actual
quote
series.
unquote official canon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's as an episode, it's very dark for the franchise, but as an episode, as like a standalone, it's not a bad episode in
Yeah,
my
it-
opinion.
I mean, it was kind of more like a Twilight Zone type deal going on
Yeah.
there. Because he's like in this surreal place. I mean, it's not. He wasn't dreaming the whole time, but at the time, but it was kind of like it was a dream the entire time.
Right.
Because the only time he was truly himself was when he landed on the planet and when he left the planet.
And that was even, I mean, he did leave the planet, but kind of didn't leave the planet. Well, I mean, he did, but not in her mind.
No,
But-
in her mind, they pretty much like, oh, you can have a mate, and then they send off a ghosty.
Yeah.
Ghosty on first.
Like, that was, I mean, it was so weird. And if it weren't for the fact that I know a decent amount about Trek, like if they had aired that as the first episode, like it's a
People
little,
would be confused.
yeah, it's a little difficult to follow, I thought.
Especially because, like,
And that's I've seen the episode at least twice in that I can remember in my
Yeah.
lifetime. So it's a little difficult to follow as like the introduction to
a series.
right, not even a franchise, but a
It's
series
just the
because
series
yeah,
itself. Because at the time it wasn't a franchise. It was
right,
a series.
it was Star Trek.
But yeah, like the whole time he's trying to explain what's going, like, not blatantly be like, oh, this is what's going on right now. But the whole time he's figuring things out.
Well, yeah, I mean you need the exposition.
He's kind of explaining it like, oh, I'm figuring this out, and this is how, like, this is what's going on, this is how it's happening, this is what they're doing. Like, as you're watching the episode, it's like he's explaining everything that's going on
To the audience.
yeah, to the audience without speaking to the audience. He's like, it's
Well, I
kinda
mean,
like,
you kind of need that exposition, like on a show that I am a big fan of, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They had the character of Giles for that. He would, they'd be like, "Oh, this is the mom." I don't know if you ever watched the show, but in case anybody who's listening hasn't, it's like, oh, here's the monster, or here's we think this is kind of what the monster looks like this week. Here's what it did. A few other details, and then a scene or two later, he would come back with one of his books, and he would be like, okay, it is this type of demon. Its purpose is this, and whatever. And whereas he's explaining to them so they could go fight it, really it's the writers are explaining to us kind of how much, like, what emotionally we need to invest, because then it's like, okay, it's after this and this and this, and then whatever's going on with the actual characters, those things will kind of dovetail towards the end, because then it's, oh, well, he's after this, and that relates to what's going on in their personal lives, so whatever. So, but they needed that exposition, because if not, it's just like, well, why are they going after this thing? Why is he doing what he's doing? And kind of when Pike, because he's there by himself, and he's talking to someone who, first, he's not even sure is real, and second, isn't answering a damn one of his questions.
She's just like, yeah, no, disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so,
he
did kind of need to talk out loud, and, because, really, anyone would do it, but they wouldn't.
I think he did it a little excessively. Like,
it was a little too on the nose.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm in a cage, and this is a menagerie.
He just said the cage. There, he said it.
He's like dead on with what's going on.
That's because they did need to explain it to us.
Be vague about it and let the audience figure it out for themselves. Like, don't spoon feed every detail.
Right. Yeah, that's something I'm not a fan of, is when, I'm, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm an intelligent person, and if Lost is a good example. Lost and Battlestar Galactica are a good example of that. It's like, if they don't spoon feed they do not spoon feed, there we go, I got it, things, everything to the audience. It's, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, perhaps this show isn't for you.
Yeah,
it's not like Trek is
watch
the most
episode once or twice, 2 or 3 times, so that way you can.
Yeah, because then again, back then that wasn't always possible.
It wasn't an option,
but it's like, if you don't get it, you don't get it, and you know what I mean. They shouldn't have to dumb things down.
Yeah.
Well,
nowadays you might have to.
Right, now, but think about it. That was 50 years ago. Audiences were supposed to be more mature.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have had to dumb it down. But overall, I think it was a good episode, a good start. A little bit of a cagey start, if I may. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head, what the first broadcast order episode was. I think it's Charlie X?
The Man Trap. Then
Is
Charlie
it the Man
X.
Trap?
Yeah, and then Charlie X.
Okay. Because, like I said, I know Where No Man Has Gone Before is episode 3. I don't know why I thought Charlie X was first. But I actually, you know what, I think you're right.
I think it takes place first in the Stardates, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's something that we're
they're.
That's another thing. Stardates weren't in this one.
I don't think they had a feel for what's I think season 3 they're more in order.
Yeah, which is funny because Roddenberry wasn't even involved in half of season 3. I'll get to that when we talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird because they had the Stardates to kind of be like, oh yeah, we're keeping track of our stuff because it's like a military type thing.
Yeah.
You gotta keep all your ducks in a row. But I think it was more or less there just to be like, yeah, we're keeping track of everything that happens.
Yeah, except for the fact that some of them take place, Stardate-wise, if I'm not mistaken, they take place before other ones, but the information hasn't been learned.
It's been relayed, episode 5 takes place after episode 7, but yet in episode 7 they have the information from episode 5.
Right.
Even though it hasn't happened yet.
Exactly.
And that's the only
But it's I don't know if it was necessarily if that was thought of.
I think they're just going for like that entertainment factor, just to kind of keep people engaged with it. Which at that time you're not paying attention to star dates anyway. Star dates
Right.
didn't become a big thing until Next Generation.
Well, it's also the fact that they were aired out of order, of course.
That
because
had
they
a lot
weren't.
to do with it too.
And the fact that, like you said, if it was like 5 and 7, but then it's actually supposed to be 7 and 5, some of it could have been re-edited as
True.
well. Because it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't know if this is the case, but it's like maybe they included the star date from the original, but because they decided, oh, well, it's actually going to air afterwards, they tacked on the ending
Yeah.
from another thing or whatever, But chances are we will get to all of those types of details when we do it. Now, for this episode, I didn't go into it too much because there's a lot.
There's a lot we could talk about with every episode. And
Well, what I was going to say with this one in particular is there's a lot of behind the scenes information available.
and that
because-
just changes the whole outlook of like each episode and like the series itself.
Right,
Because then you understand like why this happened the way it did in this episode.
right.
Because the stuff going on behind the scenes just
Well, that
changes
as
everything.
as one of the things that we talked about, not to the audience, we were talking in preparation for this show, is the fact that a lot, more than I do about what happens like on screen.
Yeah, I know a lot of on-screen stuff.
But I a lot of the stuff I'm more, not that I'm not interested in the show, but I'm more interested in a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
That sets the mood. Like a lot of people don't know this, but what the hell is Nicole's?
Michelle Nicol,
Yeah, her.
the original Uhura, who
She-
hasn't appeared yet from what we've seen.
Yeah, she hasn't appeared yet, but she was actually going to leave the show. I think after season 1, and then they pretty. I think,
Well, her and, as far as I know, for the movies and the animated series, her and George Takei weren't going to get paid as much as the rest of them because they were minority actors and whatever. And I was actually just reading an article the other day where he doesn't talk about it because he doesn't think that it's something that should be like brought to attention, and he doesn't want to make it be like, yes, I am that great of a guy. But Leonard Nimoy, from what I understand, was a big advocate for, if they're not going to be in it and getting a decent pay, I'm not going to be in it.
I think he was actually the one who talked to Hora into staying.
Yeah,
I think, it was,
which I think is it's a wonderful thing.
especially to build that relationship with like
Yeah,
off screen, build
Uh,
that relationship to make it easier to work with. But then that transfers over into the show when you see.
now see and the thing that's really unfortunate is like Takei is out there a lot now, and it's really depressing because he's a guy with a very good story to tell and a very illustrious career, and almost everything that I see anymore is where he's always bad-mouthing William Shatner because they did
Oh
not
my.
because they did not get along. And I understand you didn't get along. Even Leonard Nimoy has gone on record as saying that that the two of them always didn't get along.
Yeah, they clashed a lot.
Michelle Nichols said that she didn't get along. And, so apparently people have a problem with Bill Shatner. But not every... But they've also, like Michelle Nichols and Leonard Nimoy and the rest of them have also said good things about him. And pretty much everything that I keep reading or seeing with Takei, it's always like one of the things recently was how they all knew back then that he was gay, but they were all cool about it because if it got out in the world, like the Hollywood
They would
world,
kill the series before it began.
well, not even it would, but he would never work again because that wasn't
At the time, the stigma.
right. But he said that, at like the weekly rap parties or whatever, they would all be there with their husbands or their wives or their girlfriends or boyfriends, and he would always have a buddy, as he put it. And he said that everybody on the cast and the crew knew, and they were cool about it, except there was always one guy who it went over his head. And in the interview, after some prodding, he finally was like, that was the problem with Bill. Because, and it's just like okay, who cares? Maybe he didn't get that you were gay. Maybe it wasn't a big deal to him, to the point where he had to give you the wink and the nod and be like, yeah, I'm cool with it, buddy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not everything... And
I don't care either way.
yeah, not everything... Like I said, he has a fantastic career. He does how many things, like, comedy things online now. He has appeared, or at least done a voice in two of the major, if not the two major, space-themed franchises. He was, of course, obviously in Star Trek, and he did at least a voice in in something Star Wars related. You know what I mean? Like, he has, and he's done so many other things in film, TV. He's a very big activist for like gay rights and stuff. He has so many other things that he could and should talk about. It doesn't always have to come back to bashing Bill Shatner.
I think it's weird. Like, you hear about how rough it was for the original series cast to work, but then when you hear about the Next Generation cast, they were such a tight-knit family.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast,
yeah.
They literally hung out with each other, and, I mean, they got into a couple scuffles here and there.
But who doesn't? You're working in such close quarters
especially
with people.
for 7 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the most part, like, you will never hear one person say something bad about another person because they are that close.
Right. And that makes sense. Like you said, like, everybody's bound to get in a little... Like, there are people that I work with at my actual job to make money that I get along with, and then there are people that I don't get along with, but I can work with them, and some people I'll hang out with outside of work, and others you're
my work friend. I don't want to see you outside the...
No, you're not even my work friend. You're my co-worker.
I want to give you a nod when I see you. I'll just give you the finger.
Well, I'm not that bad. Like, I'll give him a nod.
Then we get into work. It's like, what was that about? I don't know what you're talking about.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, you probably have that at your job as well. Like,
I work alone.
Oh well, duh.
Yeah, but yeah, the guys in the other shops, for the most part, they're all cool. But
I would assume, like, you have...
There is one guy where I'm just like, stop talking to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like,
well, I'm sorry, David. We do a show together now.
Yeah.
So...
I don't even work with you. I work for you. No, I don't.
No, you don't. This is very much a
cohabitant.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think that just about wraps up.
Yeah.
The first episode proper.
Let me just close this out for you guys that are listening. They leave the rock when they find out that they actually did blast a hole through it. They come down the fancy stairs. They talk about...
that's right. He has to finish.
I gotta
his
finish
recap.
the story.
I'm sorry. We actually had a conversation, not recapping the episode.
All right. Well, they talk about how the lady's a humpback whale, and then they send the little redhead there.
Oh, that annoying kid.
Cutie as she is, they send her back up to the ship.
Her. I thought you were talking...
No, not the kid yet. Then they send Majel Barrett up to the ship, number 1, as Pike calls her.
You've heard me reference Roddenberry's wife earlier. That's her.
That's her.
For those of you
she
who didn't know.
becomes Nurse Chapel
in
the
and she's
the
the
Kirk
voice
era.
of the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, she plays the voice of the computer in the newer series.
Well, yeah, from what I understand, she was the voice in... She appeared in some way or another in every iteration of Star Trek.
She played...
Up until the 2009 reboot, which she passed away shortly before it premiered, I believe. So even J.J. Abrams knew, like, she was important.
Yeah.
Not just in the fact that, like, she was Roddenberry's wife. But
I think
like,
that had more to do with it than the fact that she was involved with every single series. I think it was kind of their way of carrying on the legacy from basically attaching everything from the old with the new. It's kind of like that bridge.
Well, I thought
Well, and
Spock
Nimoy,
showing
yeah.
up was that aspect of it, but
I mean,
maybe I'm wrong.
definitely not. But yeah, in Next Generation, she played Luxana Troy. So I mean, she played personally in that, and she was the computer voice for Next Generation, Voyager, and I think in Deep Space Nine. In Star Trek Enterprise, I don't think they actually had a computer voice because they didn't even have automatic doors. They had to hit buttons and shit. Cause
No, but I would assume she appeared somehow.
I think she did appear in there at one point
even
or
if
another.
it was just like a voice, something.
In fact, I think it was
over
the
the phone or something.
I think it was the episode with Riker when Riker's like,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
hologram or whatever, and
Yeah.
she does whatever.
Oh, speaking of voices and whatever, that was one of the other things was the fact that the what do they call them? Where they flip? It was like the thing that
Oh,
made
the
them invent
communicator.
that made them invent the cell phone.
Yeah.
Like, is that the same one that they use later in the
No,
original series?
No, that one. I think they use it for like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
If they even use it for that, but then they switch over to the black communicator with the gold screen. In fact, they have two different designs of that form. The one is just a flat screen, and the other one is like a kind of rounded screen.
Right.
That flips up. But yeah, they go from a clear box with a steel cage over it to the communicators. They pretty much switch to is just the black box with the gold cage that flips up.
Right.
So they got fancier. They got more creative with the phasers too, because it was just like a piece of clay with like a toilet paper roll on it with gold paint.
And they twist it, and that makes it shoot or something.
Yeah, where on the second generation phasers, it's not really like a gun type. It's
Looks like a tiny version of a satellite.
yeah
On the end, at least.
yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like holding like a pickaxe, and then you have like your dish on the front, and then on top they have, I think it's called the A1 phaser that actually comes out.
Right.
And you do your settings on that, and you pop that back into the A2 phaser, which is supposed to just boost the power so you can actually use it for more stuff than just zapping somebody.
Right.
But yeah, they pretty much didn't only revamp the cast, they revamped like all their tools and stuff like that
Yeah.
to kind of like just make it better. Like they pretty much took everything they learned from that first episode that never aired until like 20 years later.
Right.
And just kind of built off of that.
Well, they also, I mean, they shot it, like we were talking about the fact that like it was too dark, like they shot it brighter too.
Yeah.
Like it was a very, like the lighting was different, the set designs were a little different and whatever. Okay, I'm sorry, continue your recap.
Yeah. The recap continues. But yeah, they send the two hotties up to the ship, and then Pike's down there with the hunchback, and then the assheads are like, oh, blah blah blah, and so she disappears with her image of Pike, and they live happily ever after, I'm assuming. The buttheads decide Pike and the human race are too primitive and unpredictable and angry, and
Which is also true.
yeah, which is also
I
true.
think. And that's saying that, granted they're in the future, but they wrote about it 50 years ago, and it's extremely sad that we haven't changed that much.
Haven't changed a single bit, and it just seems people rise to the level of their incompetence. It's like, you got all this, you seem to be okay at this position, you get a promotion, and then you get another promotion, next thing you know, you have all this power, but you have no intelligence to use it correctly.
People tend to fail upwards.
Yeah.
And that's why.
That's kind of like what they were saying. It's like, for you guys have come a long way.
Yeah.
But you still got a long way to go. And that seems to be the theme in all the Star Trek series. Is like, yeah, you guys have come a great distance and you've advanced a lot, but you're ahead of yourselves, and you kind of got to take a step back
Right.
and like cool your jets and just take a moment to take everything in, not just
Well, yeah. If
rush through.
you're what's that? There's a saying that it's like if you're always looking for the next moment, what happens to the one that you're in?
Yeah.
You know, like you have to. What's his name? Ferris Bueller says that whole thing.
Oh yeah, don't take life too serious or you'll never get out alive.
Well, no, not that one. It's the one where he says life moves pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
You know, something about slow down and.
Yeah, if you don't stop and take it in once in a while,
Yeah.
you'll miss it or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And I think that's what we might do. And speaking of failing upwards, that's what we're doing with this podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're moving up from just talking about Trek to recording us talking about Trek and sharing it with people, hoping that they enjoy.
So.
That is the first episode of The Cage.
Thanks for hanging in there, guys. It's
Yeah.
been a long one. Hopefully, we can get a little bit better. And
I don't know, man. I thought this worked out
it was
really well.
really
Like,
well. Next episode should have a video.
But perhaps whatever you see in your mind's eye might be better.
Yeah, it's as real as you want it to be.
Nice. Perfect way to end the episode. Till next time, I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And this has been Just Trekking Along.
We're going to continue to trek along. Give us your feedback. Let us know what we can do to make improvements.
Absolutely.
Any questions you might have.
You can contact us on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/justtrekkingalong, JUSTTREKKINGALONG. Hit us up on Twitter @justtrekkingpod. And you can check out our teaser video on YouTube, and this audio file will probably be uploaded somehow onto there, whether it be with a black screen or with a goofy image of us, maybe.
Yeah, we'll figure something out for you.
But yeah, you can get in touch with us any of those ways and give us your feedback, and we hope that you will join us next time.
And this is us signing off.
Live long and prosper.
All right, everybody. So that was the very first episode of the Just Trekking Along podcast. The Twitter page is still up. The Facebook page is still up. Of course, we haven't really updated much of anything for a while because real life got in the way. And maybe one day we'll bring that series back. I've spoken, Dave and I are still very good friends. We talk, very often. So maybe one day, maybe if this episode gets a little bit of positive reaction, we will be encouraged to bring it back. Once again, thank you for bearing with me through this episode this week. The next few weeks, like I said, it'll be a little bit different than it has been. Hopefully you like it. I'll do the normal, please like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Give the videos the thumbs up, comment on the videos, please let me know that you if there's a particular guest I've had, if there's someone maybe that if you're a friend that you want on, of course I've been talking with a few different people about having different people on this show, maybe some people that are on the Lost with Friends show, some other people, things like that. Of course, this podcast is still in the very early stages, so, we are continuing to grow. Thank you as I said, thank you for sticking with me this week. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this has been Paul and All for this week. Thanks. Have a great day.